What's up everyone, this is Dre here. Welcome back to another video, and in this video I will be installing the SVE Performance coilover kit on my 2006 Mustang GT. Stock, we like to call it monster truck ride height because, well, it's on jacks right now, so this is not like how much it would actually be, but it would be like a good 4 inches or so. So let's start taking off the front wheels and taking off the strut assembly. Alright guys, so I got both of the wheels off. I guess I'm gonna start on one side. I'll go through this side with you guys, and I guess I'll just time lapse the other side. So I guess let's start ripping the strut off. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do is remove this sway bar end link. Alright, so we got the sway bar end link out of here. It's right there. And now I guess we're gonna remove these two bolts right here that hold the strut to the spindle. Alright, so we got both of the bolts out, and I guess the next thing is remove this bolt right here that holds the brake line, and remove this clip right here. Alright guys, so we got everything off over here. We got the brake hose lines off, this clip off, and I just put in one bolt here just so the spindle won't just hang in there, and so this won't fall when I unbolt it up there. But now let's pop the hood. Now we're gonna unscrew these 4 bolts right here. Alright, so we got these bolts off. These are just holding the strut in there for now. So now I'm just gonna pull out this bolt and then hold it over here and unscrew these by hand, and then this should come out. Alright everyone, so finally took it out. It's pretty simple, pretty quick. I did it in like what, 30 minutes maximum, maybe less. All you need to do is remove a couple bolts and that's all. It's pretty simple. So now let's go compare this to the coilover. Alright, so right off the bat you can see this is going to be much lower and much cleaner, and this should handle so much better because this does have a stiffer spring rate. So now let's go adjust it and then we can install it. Alright guys, so before you can install these strut assembly, you have to adjust them. So what you would do is have the spring loose like this, run it up, and then run up the top collar until it's flush. And then run up the second one. Don't move the second one, but tighten up this top one about 5 millimeters in between this middle collar. Alright, so those 5 millimeters are roughly the size of this spanner wrench, so make sure that goes in between, and then you can roll this on. Tighten it up. And now you're gonna have to adjust the bottom part of the strut. Go ahead and unscrew this bottom one. Alright, so next you would measure this. So from the top of the strut to the middle of this hole, it should be 18 inches. So it's a little bit off. Adjust this and just measure until it's 18 inches from here to the center of this hole, and that looks right about at 18 inches. So we can run up this bottom collar and tighten it up. And there you go, our coilover is set. Now we can go install it. Alright guys, so we got it all adjusted. I'll leave this positive and negative camber for at 0 for now. So I'll just go install it. Alright, so we got the strut in there, just hand tightened up there. Now we're gonna put the spindle back on the strut and put these bolts back in, and they're gonna be torqued down to 140 pound-feet. Alright, so now we install these end links. So I'm not exactly sure how to adjust these, but I did just bottom them out. Just left a little bit of thread on there, but so now I'm just gonna tighten them up and then just install them. And I believe these are torqued down to 85 pound-feet. Alright, we got the strut in, we got the end link in, everything's torqued down. My torque wrench won't reach to this bolt, so I went by feel. Alright, so all that's left is to put on the wheel and torque these down. Here we are, this side is done. You can see how much lower it is than the stock one. It's on this side. This hangs much lower. So yeah, stock suspension way too high on these cars, so let's get into the time lapse doing this side. Alright guys, so I finished up the whole front part of the coilover install. They're in there. It was really easy. Altogether probably took me under 2 hours, because it takes like what, 15 minutes to take it out and then like 10 minutes to adjust it or less, and then it's just like 15-20 more minutes to put it back in and torque all the bolts back on. So it's pretty easy, way easier than I thought. It's probably one of the easiest mechanical installs I did on my car. Alright guys, now that the front suspension is done, this is a complete different day. I'm starting up on the rear. I already got it jacked up. Now let's get these wheels off and then start swapping out the suspension. Alright, now that we got the whole rear end jacked up, we got the wheels off, and under the car, for extra safety, now we're going to remove the brake hose bracket bolt from both sides. Trunk, and remove these side trim pieces and unscrew a 50mm bolt from both sides. Bolt from both sides, and then you're going to swing the sway bar down. Next, I'm going to try and remove these springs, so maybe lower down the whole rear end a little bit and pull these on. Got both the springs out. Next up, I'm gonna remove the stock sway bar. It's 2 bolts, one down here, one up there. remove the pinhole bar support brace. This bar right here. You don't have to do that, but I'm replacing mine, so take it off. Alright, now I'm going to remove the stock rear shock. Just that 15mm bolt right here. Come right off on both sides. Alright, next up, get your stock shock. We're going to pull off these bushings. Alright, now we're going to work on the shocks here. So, loosen this collar and move this all the way down. And keep moving it down until through this hole you see the bottom of the whole shock. And then you're going to go ahead and tighten. And then use this washer. And then factory washer and the factory bushing, and then they're ready to be installed. And same thing to the other one. We got the stock shocks and the SVE Performance shocks. You can see one of my shocks was blown, and then you can see these are much shorter, so it's going to lower the car down, but let's go ahead and install them now. Alright, next we're going to adjust these rear spring perch to the right height. So what you do is just tighten these down all the way and then tighten them up against each other. Same thing to the other one. And then you're going to install it, remove the factory spring isolator and install this perch, install this isolator, and make sure you put it with the flat side down, and that's how you would install them. So let's go through it. Alright, so here we got the springs. You can see already a huge difference. See, these are much taller than the SVE ones. And look, I can compress these, but these compress so much harder than this one. This one's pretty easy. And then we've got the spring isolators and the spring perch with the isolator. So now let's go install them. Alright, so I finally got the whole pinhole bar in there. Everything's torqued down to spec. This is 129 pound-feet. I did it on both sides. And then I forgot to mention, but this shock right here, you would torque this down to 85 pound-feet. But I guess the next thing, don't forget to put on your, it's like a shield or whatever. Probably not necessary, but it was on here, so I guess I'll just slap it on. Alright, next up, I'm gonna put the sway bar back in and just swing it up, put the bolt through, and it's gonna be tightened up down to 85 pound-feet. Alright, so now almost everything is bolted in, so you would jack up the whole rear end, and while you're jacking up, make sure the shocks are going into the hole right there on both sides, and keep jacking it up until the bushings bottom out. Alright, next you go back to the trunk and you tighten these down. And these are gonna be tightened down to 30 pound-feet of torque. Alright guys, so the car is finally back on the ground. I'll show more of the car tomorrow, how low it is, and see y'all tomorrow. Alright guys, so this is the next day, and oh wow, that's so much lower to sit down in the car now. But this car is so much lower now. I'm gonna show you guys how it looks like from outside. I'm pretty sure I dropped it like 2 inches from stock, so that does a huge difference. It looks a lot better. I'm gonna have to be more careful in driveways and speed bumps with the lip on there, but just makes the whole car look so much meaner. Just look at that. I do want to lower the front down maybe half an inch more, because it looks like the front is raised up a bit more than the rear. But yeah, this car is low, real low. What's cool now that it's lower, it's gonna be so much easier to work in the engine bay because it's lower. You have further reach around. That's gonna be another plus. Alright guys, so this is a complete different day. Let's go for a drive here and see how the suspension feels like. Stiffer than the stock ones, of course. So it's, and they are a bit bouncier, actually a lot bouncier than the stock suspension. So I mean, I could go through speed bumps at 20 miles per hour on the 20 mile per hour speed bumps, and it's fine. It doesn't scrape or anything. Sometimes I'll scrape on the exhaust if I go like in the middle of the speed bump, I guess. Corner's pretty good. Now there's this one turn down here. Take it. See how fast I can take it. Usually I'd go through there at 70. Let's try 80. You guys face another way so you guys can get a view of the front. Here's that turn we went through. Let's do a little slalom test. So much less body roll than stock suspension. Much better. So much stiffer to the ground. Way better handling than stock suspension.
show you guys how bouncy these coilovers are. There's like this little bridge that's pretty wavy.